Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Saturday, July 8th weekend update. No, not Seth Meyers, but anyways, we are expecting a potential for some ideal conditions for sprout development in wheat that's ready or close to being ready, as we see a lot of 80-degree temperatures next week and also an increasingly humid air mass for much of the week. And precipitation, several events could bring around 3/4 of an inch of rainfall across central Michigan to 1.25 inches or locally much heavier across southern lower Michigan. And again, but for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, sunshine, much lower humidity and dew points. Very comfortable out there today, highs in the mid 70s, and plenty of sunshine as well on Sunday with highs around 80. And again, that warm, sticky air moves in. The best chances of rain, as we identify it right now, would be for late Monday into early Tuesday, and then again for Wednesday and Thursday, and especially across southern areas where again some locally heavy rainfall could be found. If we look at the extended outlook, you can see near to above normal for the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks, with possibly some drying as we get towards the end of next week into the following week, as we see again a building ridge possibly developing across the eastern U.S. with a little bit of a burst in the Southern Oscillation Index towards the positive. But again, we'll wait and see on that. If we look at conditions this morning, you can see temperatures mainly in the low 60s, so very comfortable out there. More importantly, the reason why it's comfortable is dew points have dropped from the upper 60s to low 70s the last couple of days, now down into the 50s, and we expect with a northwest flow, we'll continue to see a very comfortable air mass in place here for the next 2 days. But as that cool air begins to retreat thanks to a system moving in from the west, you're going to see some overrunning conditions, and by Sunday you can see already some heavy rain breaking out across the western Midwest, and again that'll continue to move to the east, and as we get into Monday morning, already a threat of very heavy rainfall across northern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and southern lower Michigan as that warm air makes a push towards the Great Lakes. And again, eventually this whole system will move off to the northeast and we'll be into the warm sector, and increasingly we'll see more of a south flow bring some of that higher humidity and dew point air right out of the Gulf of Mexico. Now is the hope for some drier weather, and we will have some heat. If we see several more positive bursts in the coming days, that would help us to potentially have more confidence that a eastern ridge would develop, giving us some fair conditions and warm conditions. And if we look at the MGAO, again, it's a pretty weak pattern. That's why we've seen a lot of transient flow. We've seen a lot of systems moving across the U.S., giving us plenty of precipitation, and that's because we just don't have any blocking in place, and that could change if we continue to see that spike in the SOI. And again, as far as precipitation here, over the next day and a half, this takes us into Sunday PM. You can see very little rainfall expected across much of the MAC area, a little more in a way as you get towards northwest Wisconsin, back into the central portions of the UP. But by Tuesday at 7 o'clock, you can see, if we can move this ahead, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, you can see up to a ½ inch or more across central Michigan, down to about an inch or more as you get into the southern parts of the state. And finally, by Thursday at 7 p.m., you can see much of this week looks quite wet, with around an inch of precipitation possible across much of the MAC area, and maybe approaching 2 inches across south and southwest lower Michigan. Right now, southwest lower Michigan looks to be the most favored area for heavy rainfall here over the next 5 days or so. If we look at the Canadian through next Thursday, you can see they also are leaning towards southwest lower Michigan as having the best chance, but again, many areas picking up between a ½ inch and 1 inch of rain. Again, as we look at some of the other models, you can see the flood or the heavy rain potential is, I think, most prevalent across the southern Great Lakes. As far as severe weather, we really don't have a big threat of severe weather, but quite often where you have the strongest storms on the northern fringe of that is where you usually have a frontal boundary, and it's in that area or to the north of the front, wherever that sets up, quite often you'll get your heaviest rains. And right now we think that's going to be across, again, southern Michigan, especially southwest Michigan, into northern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And again, we'll continue to watch. Any kind of a fluctuation north or south will make a big difference as to where the heaviest rain will lay out. So it's still quite early, as much of this rain, again, a couple, 3 days away. And you can see the WPC also has issued the slight risk. Again, these are pretty low risk areas for flash flood guidance. But again, this is the area we're looking at, anywhere from central Michigan down into parts of Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois. And for the forecast, looks like it's going to be a pretty decent day again, with mid 70s today and dry conditions, sunshine plentiful tomorrow, highs around 80, and then We'll start off the day with some sunshine, storms possibly moving in by late in the day and extending actually into Thursday. And here are the two favorite time periods for when we think the best and the most significant rain will fall. And again, when everything's all said and done, looks like about 1.25 inches, or 3/4 inch to 1.25 inches, and locally heavier amounts. And that's something we'll continue to follow here over the next several days. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, the rest of your weekend, and 73s to all.